Yo, what is going on, guys? So I want you guys to join me in this video where we will identify and try to locate some potential rare pieces of equipment and artifacts that may have been left behind by the Lightpact during their battles against the Harbingers and the corruption. Before we get into all of that though, just a quick reminder to please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, like the video if you are enjoying this content, and leave me a comment down below because guys, we need to figure out what the next treasure hunt is gonna be. So if there's anything that you're wanting to look for, let me know down below and we'll see what we can do to try and find that one as well. Now, without further ado, let's go and see who the Lightpact is and what they may have been in possession of that you are gonna want to try to hunt down in Ashes of Creation. So who were the Lightpact exactly? Well, the Lightpact was an alliance created by the 4 major races of Vera in order to solve the mystery of the Harbingers. Until that fateful day when the stars fell, chaos reigned and corruption spread, the Lightpact worked together and put aside all enmity. For the first time in a very long time, no wars were fought, and peace had become a way of life. For a time at least, let us remember, the Lightpact sent out teams of hardened veterans to find and retrieve the materials needed for the divine gateways. They were exceedingly rare and powerful materials to find, but the Harbinger's presence made it near impossible. These teams of adventurers were specialists in their trade, with strong minds capable of resisting the corruption. Not all of them returned, but enough did. Now, there were also many members that actually made up the Lightpact, and there were various sections of the Lightpact and a hierarchy to them, if you will. The elite team of the Lightpact was known as the First Light, and we will get to know a couple of its members here. Now, at this time, we only really know of about 4 members of the Lightpact, by both name and reputation, if you will. And that is thanks to the Ashes of Apocalypse, or APOC, lore drops that we got back when APOC was being run. First up, we have Avenita, a cleric with an unparalleled devotion to creation and a real badass on the battlefield. When her ally was swallowed whole by He Who Groveled, Avenita pierced its belly with a lance of golden light, thrust her hands into its entrails, and pulled out the body of her friend before channeling the energy of creation and summoning his spirit back to his body. Next up, we've got Brother Balmo, the mightiest paladin who wielded a mace crafted at the Godforge and blessed by the Seven themselves. It would sear the flesh of the corrupted foes by just being near them, and left some gruesome results when used in combat. While this alone would not be enough to win the war, he would do what he could to ensure Vera's survival. Now, Brother Balmo and Avenita, they ran together in a group. I'm not quite sure who the other members of their specific group was, but they did run together, and there's several pieces of APOC lore that have them interacting and fighting together. Very interesting stuff. You check it out on the Ashes of Creation wiki if and when you get a chance. I will be linking that down in the description below as well, if you wish to read more. All right, we've got Aramis up next, an immensely powerful wizard who would do anything to protect his allies, even give his own life so they could continue the fight against the ancients and their corruption. With his dragon inlaid wand by his side, he set out to do what was required of him. Now, Aramis here was also a member of the First Light, that elite team of the Lightpact. We also have his running partner and special love interest, Kay, An incredibly talented and battle-hardened fighter, Kay was very in tune with the essence and the elements around her, giving her spear an incredible power. Channeling lightning through her spear, Kay could knock all foes surrounding her away, chain lightning through hordes of ancients, and launch herself into the air for a greater view of the battlefield. Alongside her love Aramis, she fought for the First Light and the future of all Vera. So I know, you're thinking, okay, Half Tilt, this is a treasure hunt video. You haven't really talked about any treasure yet. Well, guys, we have to get to know who was holding our treasure, what they were up to, in order for us to find the treasure. Now let's talk about what the treasure is. Then we'll get into some more details, trying to locate where that treasure may be in Vera. So what are we after here? Among whatever artifacts these heroes of Vera may have been wielding or transporting and lost for us to find, we know of the weapons wielded by the members of the Lightpact. Avenida had her lance of golden light, which was first mentioned during Epoch Lore Week 1 Entry 3. Now there is a very real possibility that this lance is actually a cleric spell known as Divine Censure. This was shown recently in the Alpha 1 Cleric level 1 to 10 skill preview video, and it is possible that maybe this skill was ranked up to level 3 or augmented somehow to appear as a lance of golden light, or give it the power to actually cut open the belly of the Kraken, he who groveled. But no doubt, whether this is a spell or an actual material weapon that we can locate and equip, Avenida had an epic tale, if not incredible treasure, to hunt down. And we know that we want to find out a lot more about this absolute badass of Battle Cleric. Next up, you guys, we've got Brother Balmo. Well, we heard a little bit about Brother Balmo in the Who Is He section here. But guys, he had a mace that was crafted in the Godforge and blessed by the 7 high priests of creation. The 7 themselves. First mentioned in Epoch Lore Week 1 Entry 4. He also had other artifacts that he, Avenita, and others were risking their lives to gather and protect. I do suspect that these other artifacts and relics had something to do with the creation of the divine gateways themselves. Some of these artifacts were in fact left in the wreckage of the Mayfly because they might have been damaged or just simply not found, but he was able to recover enough to complete his mission in the end. Aramis had a symbol of power, of elements given form that resonated along essence lines. This was a wand with a delicate dragon inlay mentioned in Epoch Lore Week 2 Entry 2. This wand was held in a sheath when not in Aramis's hand. Now, that sounds like something that I'm pretty sure most spellcasters would be very interested in finding. It'll be interesting to see if these weapons, like I do suspect these are actual treasures that we will be able to find in the game, because it gives a lot more tangible meaning to these lore stories. But it does make you wonder if they're going to be equipable, or are they going to be artifacts or relics that go in a reliquary. We'll have to wait and see. Now, lastly, we've got Kay and her spear. Now, this may have been a powerful magic artifact containing the power of lightning, or perhaps it was a more ordinary spear, and it was Kay's secondary mage archetype that gave her the elemental power in battle. Mentioned in Epoch Lore Week 7 Entry 2, finding the answer to this mysterious item's power is almost as driving as finding the weapon itself. Alright, now this is the fun part here. So of the 4 members we know they traveled in 2 groups. Avenida and Brother Balmo were together in one group, and Aramis and Kay were together in the group of the First Light. These groups had other members, but we're unsure at this time who they are and what their roles were. When we talk about Avenida and Brother Balmo, we want to focus on the area known as Brighthold Lighthouse, and the Kraken known as He Who Groveled, who destroyed their ship and ate some of their team. He was hungry. Can you blame him, really? I mean, now we don't have the level of detail on the main AOC map at this time to see individual cities or areas, locations, that type of thing. We're going to have to discover that in the game for ourselves. So we're not going to be able to point out specifically on the map where we're going to want to look. But let's go out on a limb here for a second, you guys. Work with me on this one, okay? If we look at this original APOC Battle Royale map, so of the entire Battle Royale field, there is an area here known as Brighthold, right here on the right side of the map. Right center, if you will. There's also a Spire of Aramis, which is interesting considering we're looking at a fellow named Aramis. However, Brighthold is the area we're going to look at. Now, we don't see a lighthouse here, but it's probably safe to assume the lighthouse is near Brighthold and not necessarily, near Rotwild Forest. So, if we look along the coast of Brighthold, we look at the terrain color. Okay, I know I'm going out on a limb here, but this is the best we got to work with right now. If we look at the terrain color of the area of Brighthold, and then we go and look at the terrain colors and variations here on the main AOC map for the MMO, we can see that the north part of the eastern continent might be kind of our area of interest. The terrain colors in this area here very closely match the terrain colors of the Brighthold area here. It's a stretch, but that's the closest we have to go on at this time. Ultimately, searching the coast for Brighthold and Brighthold Lighthouse in the main Ashes of Apocalypse game will be the real key to victory on this treasure hunt. Also, there is He Who Groveled, the Kraken. Now, obviously, he's going to reside in the ocean, but we don't know where exactly he's going to have his lair, if he's going to be a little bit more mobile, maybe he's really rich, he's been around for a long time. He could have multiple layers. It's also been millennia, okay, since these events have transpired, and perhaps He Who Groveled is no more. But my suspicion is he is going to be an open seas raid boss or world boss that is going to undoubtedly have certain rare items on his possession with, a pretty low chance to drop them. But he will probably also have a lair or a home base, likely where you will encounter him, that is going to have riches inside, possibly hidden in secret areas or secret rooms as well. So between the catastrophic end of the Mayfly and Brother Balmo's caravan that never fully made it to the ship, many artifacts and relics were undoubtedly lost to the waves, so be sure to keep an eye out along the many miles of coastline and below the waves for anything that doesn't quite belong, because you never know what little crevice might contain the riches of Vera's past. Now for Aramis and Kay. This gets a little bit more complicated here. There's not a lot of information in the APOC lore about where they physically were in the world. There's no point of reference like Brighthold Lighthouse, and there's no combat contention with anything like He Who Groveled. All we have to go on is this. They fell in a shadowy place between realms just as they were reaching its exit. So what had happened here is Aramis and Kay in the First Light were in a battle in what it sounded like a cavern or a cave, and they were just being overwhelmed by hordes of the ancients and the corruption. So Aramis pulled off his necklace, chanted a spell, and threw it on the ground. And boom, the First Light were transported to this realm between realms. if you will, a shadowy space where up was down and down was up. Everything was discombobulated and they felt very weird, but they were clean. All their wounds were healed. Their dirt on their clothes were gone. They were kind of back to normal, but there was no easy way out. So as they're working their way out, Aramis eventually basically sacrificed his life force to save the First Light from the confrontation in the cavern. And Kay, being his lover, instead of making the most of Aramis' sacrifice, ran back to be with him, to die alongside of him so that they could spend eternity together. Now, just as they were reaching the exit, that's when this happened. And the lore tells of a greater darkness creeping into the realm at this time, which could be the void consuming the realm, or perhaps they were in a part of the void to begin with, or maybe the corruption, part of the corruption, followed them into the realm in the first place. Or it could be something else that we don't even know about yet. It'll be interesting to see how we may find this other realm, but when we do, there will be some incredible artifacts to locate, no doubt. We got Aramis' wand, we've got Kay's spear, and who knows what else you will find there. My suspicion is it will be a dungeon that is in a cavern or cave somewhere, and we will have to find and interact with Aramis' broken necklace on the ground to open the portal to this realm. Or perhaps the portal has been open all this time and has basically become a gateway, another gateway for the ancients and some corruption. And that's going to do it for this video. So I'm really curious, guys. What are your thoughts on Avenida and Brother Balmo? On Aramis and Kay? On the items that they were wearing and carrying? Do you guys think that these are going to be some treasures that you are interested in hunting down? Who will you go after first? Who is most intriguing to you? And also, as I mentioned at the top of the video, if you have any treasures or stories or characters that you want to try and track down, let me know down in the comments below, and we'll see what information we can find to make that happen and try to get an idea of where to go. This is the first step in a treasure hunt. We haven't found the treasure because we're not in the game, but we have a pretty good idea right now of what we're looking for and where to start looking for it. And that's the first step on building this treasure map, you guys. Anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching. And if you enjoyed this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.